Okay, so it's been, might even have been a month by now since I posted anything on YouTube, but we've got a bunch of stuff that we've been doing that I'll get caught up on here eventually. I've been shooting most of it, but I just got to put it together in a video and post it. But anyway, I guess about a month ago now, maybe 3 weeks, somewhere around there, call it a month, I sold the Caprice. So I had it online for quite a while, and I guess it was like 2 months I had it posted.
We had a lot of fun with that car.
Yeah, we did. And so I kind of was, as we've talked about, considering, putting a supercharger on it, LSA swapping the car. I talked about maybe putting a blower on this. I decided not to. We talked about maybe on the white truck. We talked about, let's just put it on the Caprice. And when I started running the numbers, it didn't make sense. I paid really well when I bought the Caprice. I bought it at a very, very, very reasonable price. And then, of course, went through the whole thing, the cam, all the valve train stuff, interior. I mean, the car is sorted, electrical, everything is, that car was good. It was a good car. But I figured if I spent the money to put a blower on the car, I never would have recouped that. And if I ever wanted to sell the car, I would have had to take the blower off in order to try and recoup it and put it on something else. And then the kit wouldn't have fit something else. It was a whole thing. It just didn't make sense.
And it's still on TV.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the guy who bought it, I'll put his channel name down below. But so he reached out and said, "Hey, I want to buy your car." And I was getting a lot of that. So people were kicking tires, and I just kind of said, yeah, whatever. And then he said, well, can I come today? And I said, well, I was busy that day. And so he came a couple days later, and I was getting a lot, ironically, right then, I must have just reposted it or something, because I was getting a ton of feedback, and a bunch of people lined up to come look at it. The first guy bailed, and he was like, I'll come right now. So I told him that I had another guy, but he was delayed. He wasn't guaranteed. And so I let that guy know that this guy was coming, and he said, if he buys it, just let me know. So clearly he wasn't all that interested.
No, he had his chance.
Then David, the guy who bought it, showed up, and I think it was like on a Tuesday, and he was like, we took it for a drive. He loved it. And as it turned out, he had a Caprice the same year. It was a 13. And it needed tires or something, and he got caught in a rainstorm and like spun the car into a guardrail, wrecked the car.
The rain won.
Yeah. And so he wanted another one, and he's got a YouTube channel, like I said, and the car's still over there, and he's having a blast with it. But he got a very good car for a very, very reasonable price, and I still made out pretty well. And so I decided, it's obvious I wanted something with a blower. I wanted an LSA, and it didn't make sense to spend all that money and still be driving a 2013 police car.
Right.
That was comfortable, but not near as comfortable as, say, a Cadillac.
The Caprice had a great cool factor.
Yeah.
But
it sounded good. No one knew what it was. It was a blast to drive, but it's not anything more than a police car, a used, beat-up police car.
That's it.
Great low-mile car compared to most Caprices. It had 80,000 miles on it when I sold it. Most are well over 100, 150, 300 even, some thousand, some cars have. So I did pretty well, and then I didn't know for a fact that I wanted a Cadillac, but I was pretty sure. And the Cadillac with an LSA, not an LT4. Those CTSVs were going for, with LT4s, the direct injection more modern 2016 plus car, going for big money, and I also didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on the next one.
You needed something cheap to haul greasy parts in, so.
Yeah, right. We didn't quite end up with that. And so I started just browsing around. I knew I wanted to get something 2013 and newer. And I jumped onto Carvana, and I've bought and sold a bunch of stuff through Carvana between Pennsylvania and here. Through COVID, I made out pretty good with Carvana because of the weird pricing of used cars. And so I went on I think 9 a.m. one morning, and it said coming soon, reserve your spot. Not even a picture of this car. It just said it was white, 2013 CTSV. Okay, so clearly it had the 6.2 LSA. No idea what else to expect. I did know though that it had 40,000 miles on it, and the price. So it said reserve your spot. The pictures will be shortly. So I gave $100. I called them and said, hey, any idea when this thing might actually come available? And can you tell me where it is? They said, sure, it's in Orlando. Great, not far from me. They said, well, we just got it in, but it usually takes 18 to 20 days for them to clean it, get the pictures, and post it. So, well, how long have you had it? He said, well, just since yesterday. I said, all right, no problem. Not really in a hurry. I'll keep looking. You know, if something else comes up, I get my $100 back. But until then, that car was reserved. So about, I don't know, 30 minutes later, I was having a cup of coffee and I got an email that said, this car is available. Come finish your purchase. I clicked on it and all the pictures were there. This car is impeccable, impeccable. So we went and I decided that I really wanted to try the vending machine experience at Carvana because I've always just had it delivered.
It was amazing. It was fun.
We thought we'd give it a shot. And so here you can check out that experience. Everybody, so I haven't really said anything yet, but I get rid of the Caprice. Long story, we'll get into it later, but ultimately Bill and I are here today to pick up the new car. And whoa, hello. And that new car is here at, what in the world is this thing doing? So we're here at Carvana and we're picking up the new car. I'm not going to say much more than that, so let's go inside and take a look. All right, thank you.
And then this one will be the one that you want to drop
Okay.
there in the corner, okay?
Got it. Just drop it in there. Oh, you can hear it moving.
Put it all in the top there.
Awesome. I guess you can kind of put the cars anywhere you want them
Yeah,
to
we
be.
can pick whatever spot we want to put.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
cool.
like to come on the top so you can see it and then,
I see the whole platform comes over.
Not here, I know it was once, like years ago, it stuck in a certain shift. And right before it fell off, they emergency stopped. And then it was like kind of moving, but they got it. But that's all we have to learn.
There she is.
What is that, a Hugo?
That is not factory exhaust.
In there, I heard the start. Sounds great.
You can let it run. Thank you. Okay, so coming back, it was pretty cool. The coin, they gave me that one coin. We dropped the other coin in, the elevator went up. It was pretty wild.
Very neat.
I knew from the pictures that it wasn't an entirely stock car, but you can't tell on Carvana, and you certainly can't call them because they have no idea, right? I could tell with the hood up in the photos that it had an air raid intake, clearly not stock. So somebody tastefully did some things. It didn't have the sticker on it, it just had the carbon fiber intake tube and the cover matched and all that. So it looked factory. Carvana typically doesn't take cars with any modifications, but this one was tastefully done. It looked factory.
So you didn't really know.
Yeah.
They didn't really know. You knew.
Exactly. I could tell it, but I didn't know what else, if anything else was done. And so when she fired that car up, you could hear me say, not stock. And that was very obvious at that point that the car also had exhaust. It's a stainless works exhaust, air raid intake, and that's all I could really tell at the time. Bill and I jumped in that thing, and I didn't take video of the test drive because I wanted to focus on it, and I love buying new cars, so I just took it in.
Had to take a little joyride to make sure we were going to bring it home.
And so we jumped in it, and I hadn't even really gotten on the car yet. We weren't even out of the parking lot, and I pulled onto it's not a busy road, it was a little cul-de-sac dead end, and I pulled into that to go out to the highway to test the car, and I just quarter throttled the thing and almost spun it around in a circle.
And for some of the people that really don't know, some of my friends might be watching, this is a beautiful, beautiful Cadillac with basically a high horsepower hot rod Corvette engine in it.
Yeah, yes, it's a 556 horse from the factory, loads of power, and like Bill said, it's basically, I hate this analogy because it's really the only way to say it. It's basically a four-door Cadillac Corvette.
It's amazing.
Tons of power, and so I've also, by the way, had blown, supercharged cars and trucks before. I've put a bunch of blowers on cars. I had a 2015 half-ton Silverado that I put a blower on. I made great money when I sold that, and in fact, the same guy who bought that for his wife to daily bought my 2010 Camaro, which had entirely too much power, and it was a blast, but it wasn't streetable anymore. And I wanted to get back to that, but have the power, have the comfort, enjoy the ride. This thing's got magnetic ride suspension, it's got all the power. I wanted to get over 500 horse, and then of course I was going to put exhaust and an intake on it anyway, so this saved me a bunch of money, which worked out really well for me.
Perfect.
I love the color. The car has almost no miles on it, and so I got the car back, and the next day Bill and I started digging in on it a little bit, ripped all the plastics off under the hood just to do some inspection. By the way, if you've never bought a car from Carvana, a lot of people, they make fun of me for doing that. But I could have bought that same car from the previous owner on Facebook Marketplace, or I could have gone even to a used car dealership and bought one, and it doesn't come with any warranty. The thing about Carvana that I like is that they give you a 7-day trial. If you don't like the car within 7 days, or like 400, 1,000 miles, 4,000 miles, I don't remember. I think it's 1,000 miles. It doesn't matter.
Probably 1,000.
Within 4 days. If you don't like, or 7 days, they will come get the car and give you all your money back. They don't process any paperwork till after the 7 days. So it's kind of a nice little test period without a dealer riding in the passenger seat with you.
Right.
Like, you really get to feel the car. And with a car like this, you don't know what else has been done to it previously. So you need to sort it, make sure it's good. So when we pulled out of that parking lot and I almost spun the car around, we thought traction control was broken or off, or I didn't know what was going on. So we took it for just a loop, and the car had zero traction. It got a little better as we drove, but nothing like what it was. So we pull back in the parking lot. I come to find out the car had the factory tires on it. 39,000 miles, car had factory tires on it. They were date stamped 2013, and started dry cracking, and they were like hard as a rock. Summer tires, hard as a rock. No wonder I had no traction, 556 horsepower, right? So I went in, I told the lady, hey, this car needs tires. She said, well, we don't really worry about cosmetic or date codes or any of that, but if they're below 430 seconds or if the sidewall is dry cracking, then we'll replace them. So I said, well, why don't we check it? So she went in, talked to her manager, came back out. She admitted she didn't know anything about tires. This was new to her. So she put the little tread depth finder on there, and it was just under 430 seconds. So she's like, yeah, we should have replaced these. So she submitted all the paperwork for me right there, and I got an email as we were leaving saying your tires have been approved. Go to a place and find the tires. Great. So we run it back. We go through this whole car, and I found the registration from the guy who owned it before me. Carvana probably should have taken that out, but anyway, it was in the manual, in the middle of the manual. So I looked the guy up on the internet, found his cell phone number, found where he lived according to the registration right here in Florida. So I sent that number a text message, asked if it was his car. He replied immediately and said, yeah, that's my car. I miss it. I love that car, but I have to pay for a wedding. Yeah. All these things. Super cool guy. I asked him all these questions. He was more than willing to answer my questions. Talked to him again the next day. He had the car ceramic coated. The car, like I said, it only had like 38,000 or so miles on it. GM extended the warranty to 10 years on the superchargers, so he managed to actually get a brand new supercharger put on that thing because they have an isolator issue, but we'll talk about that in a second. And so the supercharger had less than 15,000 miles on it. The air raid intake had less than 4,000 miles on it. The exhaust had less than 4,000 miles on it.
Spotless underneath.
Immaculate, front to back, top to bottom. I mean, the car. So I took it up to Tires Plus, which is where one of the places locally that Carvana's insurance or warranty company Silver Rock works with. I went up there. The guy was super cool. He spec'd me Michelin Pilot 4S tires. They're stupid expensive tires, but he submitted it. Carvana pushed back. He went out and put his tread depth finder in the tread. We were below 430 seconds. Submitted the paperwork again. They came back and they said, put the tires on. So I got 4 brand new tires. I got an immaculate car that's already professionally ceramic coated with exhaust and an air raid intake. I can't ask for more than that. It's exactly what I was looking for.
And it's amazing. It's more amazing than what we thought. We got underneath it.
Yeah.
The factory paper tags. Some of the tags are paper, not plastic. We're still on the coil springs, the brake lines, every number, every mark was on the car underneath from the factory. It's incredible. I don't know that it was ever in the rain. If it was only once or twice, but I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, so when we got to talking to that guy, he said he had a 64 or 62 Corvette that he puts in Amelia Island. He lives right near Amelia Island. He had a drag car that he raced in Cecil County and a bunch of places up in Maryland in the Northeast. And
I remember the car, seeing the car at Cecil County. It was American Motors.
So anyway, we'll probably take the car up to Amelia for the show there next year and meet him in person. But I'm super impressed with the car, especially now that it's got good tires on it. It's quick, it's reliable. I took it to the airport yesterday, or a couple days ago, got back 2 days ago. I'm getting about 18 miles per gallon just cruising on the highway.
And the tires solved the hook problem.
The tires solved the hook problem.
Immediately.
Yeah, I was having some traction control enablement all the time, and it was not fun to drive in the rain. But those are good tires. It's nice to have good tires. So let's do just a quick walk around of the car. I can tell you about what's there, tell you about what's next. I'm not looking to make big power with that car. I'd like to keep it fairly stock. I've learned my lesson there with my Camaro that I built, but it does need certain things. Some of it's preventative maintenance. for known things. Some of it is stuff I want. I've already done some stuff to the car, so we'll walk through that.
And the trunk's big enough for greasy parts.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, we've got plenty of other.
Yeah,
we'll take the 55
It's just
for the
so
greasy
much
parts.
fun dragging something nasty out of the Cadillac.
We'll just
There's something about it.
Put them on the roof of the 55.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're going to pull the car in, and we'll do a walk around and check it out, and that'll sort of be the next thing. I keep changing my mind too, by the way. I know a lot of you have joined this channel, and the reason I kind of created this channel to begin with was to do drag and drive and walk you through the process for that. We're actually going to get on this the blue truck today. We're going to start and finish the fuel system today. I have everything we need, so we're going to do that. But for drag and drive, I'm still doing it. However, I'm thinking at this point we may just take the white truck. Let's see how this thing runs. Maybe we take that. Maybe we take both. You take one, I take one.
Sure, we're not sure yet.
I don't know.
We're having fun along the way.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
You know.
And it's not going to be supercharged, and it's not going to break parts, I hope. But we'll still fun. Drag and drive, yeah, there are 5, 6, 7, 8 second cars there. I'm not going to be one of them, but there are also 15, 16, 17 second cars there. So I expect to be, maybe 13s or 14s with the white truck. We have the rear in it now, so I'll 60 foot better, get great fuel economy still on the road, 6 liter. Maybe someday we put a Torque Storm supercharger on that or something. I don't know.
It's all about consistency and being there and being able to make it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I've never done a turbo build. Maybe that's an eBay candidate for an eBay turbo build. I don't know. Not really a turbo guy, mostly because I don't know a lot about it. But yeah, so we'll see. But my plan as of now for like the 15th change here is that we'll just grab one of the square bodies and go have some fun drag and drive. Still fun, whether you're supercharged and going 6 seconds or going 30 seconds. It doesn't matter. You're still having fun, and you get in a class, and they've got classes for that. So anyway, let's pull the Ethel.
Yes.
We call her Ethel. We'll pull
Ethel Pearl
in and do a walk around.
It's a great car, Neil's first Cadillac. I've had a bunch of them in the past, but they were the old Coupe de Villes and Sedan de Villes. I love the big old floaty ones. This one's just a tad more powerful and a lot better gas mileage. It's a beautiful car, it really is. Ethel Pearl, she's a little country hillbilly.
At Carvana, just a really fast walk around, but honestly I was pretty excited to get in the car and take it for a drive, and we drove home from Orlando that day, so I had a great opportunity to really enjoy the car right away. We did find an air conditioning problem on the way home that we remedied already.
Yeah, we had a pit stop on the way back.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But anyway, this is Ethel. So we call the car Ethel, or I called the car Ethel because my daughter and my wife make fun of me because I'm now driving a pop-up car. So what better name than Ethel for my mom name?
Ethel Pearl.
Yeah, and Bill calls it Ethel Pearl because it's tri-coat pearl white. And so there are very, very few slight imperfections. It's not even worth pointing out. Oh, another thing with this car that I will point out, I believe it's on this side. Yeah, down here, I don't even know if the camera is going to see it, but yeah, you can see it. There's a paint crack here that goes all the way up to the front and comes back. Clearly somebody put a jack under this or had it on a lift at some point and crunched this, and when they did, the paint cracked. Guess what? Carvana's fixing that on both sides, and they're putting 2 new headlights in it. Well, they're not, but my local body shop is. 0 deductible, 100% covered. I chose the body shop. I chose the tire place. You can't beat buying something from Carvana. You just can't. These headlights both get very little condensation in them, and that's actually a common problem. But I figured 100-day warranty, get it taken care of. don't know if I mentioned that actually. So it's a 7-day return it if you don't like it warranty, and then a 100-day overall warranty. So you have 7 days to find anything that you want to get fixed for 0 deductible, which is why I did the tires and got my appointment right away for the body shop. And then it's 100 days after that, and they charge you, I think it's $150 deductible if you go to a preferred place, or $300 if you go to like a dealer. Unless you don't have a preferred place. Here's a tip for Carvana. If you don't have a preferred place that's local, and I don't, that does certain things. So I have a tire place, but that's it. They don't do paint work, body work. They don't do mechanical work. So I could have taken this to the dealer and had 0 deductible. The dealer would have fixed everything, but I prefer to do it the way I did it. So we'll do a quick walk around. No paint chips on the hood. Like I said, this car was ceramic coated. Obviously it wasn't driven much. It did have a license plate cover on the front when I got it. I don't know if you see that in the video that at Carvana. I got these paint matched bumper hole filler plugs. They look a little off-white, a little slightly different color here in the video, but in person they're definitely paint matched. Since we're here, one thing that's cool about the CTSV is that on both sides they have intakes for brake cooling, and those are ducted all the way back to both sides of the front brakes. Big old Brembo brakes on here. The guy before me put EBC pads and rotors, so dimpled and slotted rotors. So yeah, pretty awesome.
And don't forget the headlight washers.
Oh yeah, of course, the CTSVs have headlight washers that go when you wash the windshield too. Windshield's flawless, wipers were fine, like, you know, all that stuff. I have Duradress Shine to put on the tires now that they're on there, but I gotta pull the wheels off. Yes, it's dirty, I've been driving it. So it needs to be cleaned. I need to pull the wheels off, really detail them, scrub them, get them nice and clean, put the DuraShine stuff on each one, and then I won't have to worry about tire dressing, slinging up on the car every time I wash it and then drive it. V-badge, it's just super, super clean. I could get away with not having this side done because there's only one little ding in the back, but the body shop was like, no, let's do it. The car's pretty perfect. It's not a slick top. It's got the moon roof. Let me fire this light on here. There we go. There you go, the aftermarket Stainless Works exhaust. Yeah, the car is just clean, clean, clean. Now, when I got the car, the exhaust was wonky. Unfortunately, I guess there were, the guy just didn't have the resources he needed for fitment. It wasn't perfect. So he had a hose clamp on there, caused a bunch of drone. I had a couple exhaust rubber mounts, isolators that were touching the floor and the body underneath. They were causing drone. So I pulled all that off and got these exhaust tips dead even underneath the car. So I'm happy with that. Bill, do you want to open up the front door there?
Everybody needs an economy van of white.
That's right. So I've got the key in my pocket. Just turn it here. All right, so I already put the gauge in it. This is an Aeroforce gauge, plugs into OBD2. There it goes, firing up. And I did get a wideband, which I haven't installed yet. So that'll go in, but the gauge is in. Also, I installed CarPlay and Android Auto in the car using a third-party radio. The factory radio is still here, so you can see everything still works the same way you'd expect it to work. But yeah, in the garage I don't really get any radio stations, but it does work. It's got XM. Of course, it's got the hard drive that these things come with, still loaded up with the guys' songs that owned it before me. And then if I hit aux, there's a wiring harness that I hooked up behind all this. And then in the glove box is the actual unit. It's got wireless Android or Wi-Fi for a wireless Android Auto or wireless CarPlay. I think my phone's not, it's not going to connect, but it's got CarPlay here, Android Auto here. I've got actually Netflix on it, so this might actually work because I put a hotspot in the car and it comes on when the lights are on. Yep. Oh no, so no Wi-Fi because I guess probably the lights are off or the thing didn't connect. But in any case, it's got full Wi-Fi connectivity. Of course, I could tether my phone to it, but Netflix, YouTube, you know, all those fun things. I'm actually not sure why it won't. That should be on. Oh, because Wi-Fi's off. There we go. So you can see it just runs Wi-Fi like any Android device because it's running Android. Yeah, so the hotspot's off. I could connect it to my house. But anyway, you know, full internet connectivity, runs any Android app. Pretty cool. Super, super clean. You know, it's the gray interior, which I wasn't super thrilled about, but I've really come to like it. It's got the Alcantara seats in the inserts, and then the leather Recaro seats. If I flip through, I think I'm just over 40,000 miles now. Yep, 41,780 miles. So it's pretty good. Just incredibly clean, good car. So like I said, we've got the gauge, the radio, the front license plate, just little things that I'm doing, tasteful upgrades, functional upgrades. We did have a problem, like I told you earlier, where we were, I was driving home, Bill was following me in my Duramax, and the air conditioner was going warm and then cold, warm and then cold, warm and then cold. So we stopped. I added a little 134A, and it did get me home, but then it started doing it again. The pressures were too high. So we ended up just vacuuming down the whole system and, you know, what's it called?
Gave her a little recharge.
Reclamating the gas, of course, very properly, and then we recharged it so it had the correct amount in it. And look, my luggage is still in there from the trip I just got back from. No spare tire.
For me to carry that in for you too, aren't you?
Yeah. I'll probably throw a battery in it just because this one's about 5 years old. Here's the little Wi-Fi access point that I put in there that gets us internet as we're going. So very clean. It's all there. Everything works like it's supposed to. And of course, the important part. Supercharged LSA, incredibly clean. I mean, the car is just, the supercharger has less than 15,000 miles on it. There's the air raid intake. I have already added this V logo on the intake, and then I have one. I put WeatherTech mats in it, which I'm really not pleased with, by the way. But anyway, I put WeatherTech mats in it. I'll probably switch to Husky, to be honest with you. I don't like the way these things sit in here. But I got little V badges for that too. A little hokey, but I like hokey. So super, super, super clean. Runs great. And we'll fire it up, let you hear it run. You want to take this and go in and put your foot on the brake when I get behind it and fire it up. So we'll let you hear it start. Go for it.
All right, I have no idea how to start it.
Turn the key.
Where's it at? Hey, there's no key.
Yeah. You can let it run. Super quiet. One thing about these cars is in the snout for the supercharger, there's an isolator, and that isolator is rubber and has a spring and tends to wear out and do funny things, which is why they put a new supercharger on it. So I lucked out that I got a new supercharger, but now I need to take care of that isolator because I don't want that to happen again. So what do we do about that? Well, we're gonna have to pull the supercharger lid off, and I got two of them, but we've got this isolator. It's a solid isolator made from Delrin. I've got two of them. Don't need two, but I bought two. Again, I didn't know what to expect, so I figured if this thing was making noise, I'm going to swap that isolator out right away, but it's not making noise, so I've got a little bit of time. Definitely want to do it for preventative maintenance, and you know, the way you start to know that the supercharger isolator is having problems is that at idle you'll start hearing it thunk and clunk, and that's just the rubber and the spring doing funny things. Eventually it wears a shaft. It doesn't necessarily cause harm to the blower. Eventually it will, but you replace it with a solid one and it's good. The other thing that happens with these cars, even factory, now this one's got a new supercharger, but I believe it's got the factory lid and what they call the brick, and the brick is this. This is the brick. Here, you want to hold that? The brick is basically spinning around. There's coolant that comes in and out, and then there's an intercooler. It's in the car, and a pump. So the coolant is pumped through that intercooler to pull the heat out of the supercharger. This is basically just a radiator or a heater core, and this one's bent. The tabs got bent. That's okay. And so you can see on the end, this one is welded here and all around the edge. And that's an aluminum plate that someone welded to the back of the brick, and what that does is prevents it from collapsing inside the brick. So as you make boost, this thing actually wants to suck itself in, implode itself together. So guys, they weld these plates on, and some of the real high horsepower ones making big boosts will do the same thing on the other side. I got that thing for a couple $100.
It's even engraved. And the date.
Cool. 2018, someone did that one.
Pretty wild.
It's clean, it's fine. I'm gonna swap that out for the one I have in there and then send that one out to have both plates put on it, since it's fairly new, as long as it's not collapsed. I'll have a spare, or I can swap it back in, whatever I wanna do. So between the brick and the modified brick and the isolators, that's all we're gonna do the supercharger. I thought about pulling down. I probably won't. I say that now, but I probably will eventually. And the other thing is with the exhaust, it's cat back, there's no headers, but even with the better breathing exhaust and the better breathing air intake, this thing needs a tune. No check engine lights, and that's fine. It's never been tuned. I asked the guy, he just put the exhaust and the intake on, but I'm not getting the efficiency out of those mods, albeit all minor mods, but I'm still not getting the efficiency. And quite honestly, I'll bet you even cruising with a tune and breathing better, both in and out, I'll probably get even better fuel economy.
And more power.
And definitely more power. That's the game, that's the goal. The other thing that I got is this catch can. So I recommend a catch can, and this is a little one, but I did that on purpose. I recommend a catch can for any boosted application, but really any application should have a catch can. And what a catch can does, for those that don't know, is basically you have an EGR system in your car, exhaust gas recirculation. That's for emissions. And so what it does is it will capture the oil vapor and just the fuel vapor, oil vapor, all that crap that comes out of your EGR valve or the breathers in the car, and it actually recirculates that back through the throttle body. Why is that bad? Well, in a boosted application in particular, it's bad because that brick we showed you will get full of oil, and your throttle body gets full of oil and gummy and gunked up, and then you got carbon buildup and all these things. So you catch the moisture, because it takes a lot of moisture out too. You catch the moisture, the vapor, the oil vapor, the fuel vapor, and when you dump that thing, I'll show you once we put it on and it gets full. But after you drive it, especially in colder temperatures, not so much down here, but up north I had them on my cars and trucks, it will fill with like chocolate milk, and it's gross, it stinks, but you're saving that from going back into your engine. Is it extending the life of your engine? I don't know. But do you want that stuff back in your throttle body and your engine and have maintenance and problems later? I don't. This thing only has 40,000 miles on it, so hopefully it's not already full. But these catch cans will prevent that oil or a majority of that oil from going back in, plugging up your intercooler brick, getting full of the throttle body and the intake, and just, it's a mess. So we reroute some things, we'll put that thing underneath. Essential mod. No more power gains out of that, but certainly, I think, longer life and good preventative maintenance for any car, but especially in a boosted application. So that'll go in. The isolator of the brick, I'm gonna re-ceramic coat this thing with an Adams product that I really like. I've never used, but I've read good things, and I spoke with folks at Adams over the last few years. Of course, the Duradress, and that's pretty much it for this car for now. It's just a good running machine that's a blast to drive. And
Don't put a camera in?
Yeah, I have a dash cam, right, to put in there, stuff like that, little minor stuff. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy this car. I'll get it tuned. Probably not put on a dyno. That's okay. We'll throw the tune on it. Maybe put on the dyno. I don't know. But I, at some point, could pulley down. And for those that don't know what that means, you basically, hey Bill, do you want to pop the hood real quick?
Sure.
We'll show them. So these superchargers, they run and they create boost off a belt on the front, which is connected to the crank. And you know, as you accelerate or give the car gas or throttle, it does its thing. Let's pull this guy off of here. So you can see here, this is the belt that drives the supercharger, and it goes and it wraps around like any serpentine belt would. We got a separate belt for things like air conditioner and water pump and all that stuff. This one's just for the supercharger. And this is the front of the supercharger. This is the snout that we talked about. This is the air intake. This is the throttle body right here. So you've got air that comes in through the throttle body, and then it goes into the supercharger. And if you're just cruising, there's actually a bypass valve. And that bypass valve opens up and lets the boost go so that you get better fuel economy, and it doesn't create boost at low idle or cruising RPMs. But when you get in it and the supercharger belt spins faster, it will make more boost. And it basically just compresses the air that comes in the air intake and into the supercharger. And there's rotors inside, and it literally is compressing and jamming that air into the motor to make boost. That's how you make more power. More air, it adds more fuel. And so if you want to make even more air, then you just replace this pulley here. You make it smaller, because if you put a smaller pulley on, the pulley spins faster and spins the rotors faster, which draws in turn more vacuum, more air in, and then you know, you probably want to get bigger injectors too, and that's where things start getting out of hand really quickly.
Got to keep the balance.
Yeah, is that, you know, you put a smaller pulley on, then you need bigger injectors. You need to get bigger injectors, and then you want to get a smaller pulley, and then suddenly you've got problems with traction, or you're breaking drive shafts, or your rear end goes, or the transmission goes. It's really easy to get into that very quickly, which is why for now I'm going to run the factory pulley and enjoy the car, and maybe for at least a few years, and then if we want to pulley down, we can. But right now it makes plenty of power. It's very reliable. I'm not going to mess with things except for things that I think are A, tasteful upgrades like I've already done, or B, things that will help prolong the length of the time that I own the vehicle. So outside of that, not doing anything. By the way, this is the supercharger lid. That brick is inside of here. You can pop this inspection cover off. You have to take the strut tower off. But basically we'll pull the bolt out around that and pop the snout off, and inside the snout is the isolator that will change out. Not now, but eventually. I'm going to put the catch can right back here. It bolts off, I believe, of this, or back here somewhere, maybe back here. I can't remember exactly where, but there's plenty of room for me to get in and unscrew that catch can and pull it out, dump it, and put it back in again. That's why I bought that one. I've used it before, Elite Engineering. There's Mighty Mouse, and there's Moroso, and there's all these other ones that have drains, and you gotta get under the car and all that. I like this because you can just unscrew it and dump it out.
How often do you do that? Every time you service a car?
In cold weather, you need to be pretty aware of it, because when it's cold, you create more condensation, right, as the car truck is warming
from cold to warm.
Yeah, exactly. So I have had them overflow,
Yeah.
and it just goes back in again, and it's a mess.
Right.
Down here, maybe every oil change. I don't know. I'm gonna have to really monitor it for the
Yep.
first month or so that I'm running it, but probably every-ish oil change.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
around there. Yeah. But that's why I want to put it here, so I can
Sure.
just check it.
Easy
monitor
access.
It. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that is Ethel, and keep an eye on the channel for some fun stuff here.
It's
we'll
a
take
fun
the drag
car.
strip and
Yeah, it's
enjoy
fun.
it. Yeah, it's a
And
blast.
you got to feel good about it. We feel good about it.
I feel great about it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's Ethel. No more Caprice. That's okay. If you want to keep following the Caprice, you can follow. I think his name, the channel is David Midlife, but I'll put it down below. And
He's
follow
very
him.
happy with the car.
Yeah,
I
super
saw
cool
the
guy.
first video where he had it.
Yeah.
He was really enjoying it.
Yeah. So.
And gave you credit for doing a great job too.
Yeah,
that was
did.
cool.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, and like, subscribe, all that craziness. Tell your friends.
Have a good day.
Yep. And we're gonna get now on Blue Truck. By the way, I said it in a video that I haven't posted yet, but this one's gonna get posted first. We are looking for names for cars. So we've got the Camaro, we've got the 55 is just the 55, but we've got the Blue Truck and the white C10. And the Corvette's just the Corvette. So I'm really just looking for names for the Blue Truck and the white C10 83. Put them in the comments. Tell me what you think. Casper is out. We're not calling.
Yeah.
We're not calling the white truck Casper.
No, it can't be normal. It's
Yeah,
gotta
no,
be
we need something cool.
something different.
Yep. So the other thing I am looking for input is for Ethel's license plate. So in Florida, Ethel is taken, spelled like ethylene or ethyl. You know, I've tried many different ways of spelling it. It's taken, but yeah, post it up. Let's see what you have, what thoughts you have for a cool vanity plate for the CTSV that's not taken. Good luck. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon.